What's up, everybody? I am live. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties there. That guy 321. I'm going live right now. My bad. All right, we got BM Mesquita versus Miesha Tate. That should be a good fight. I'm a fan of both of those ladies. BM Mesquita, one of the best women's jiu-jitsu fighters I've ever seen. Has great complete jiu-jitsu. And Miesha Tate, I've never seen in a grappling context before, just in MMA. So I'm curious to see how she does against one of the best women out there. Um, so, yeah. If you are watching, make sure to throw something down in the comment. I love to talk to my viewers. I was just talking with a couple of my students, my thoughts on some of these matches. And honestly, I'm not crazy impressed. These guys learn, a guard passing system, a back attack system, and a leg lock system, and that they don't have complete games. They get decent and pretty damn good at these systems, um, and they're kind of just trying to get to those places that they're good at. But it's just a matter of they need more time. And when I was on the come up, when I was a lower belt, and I would show my professor, look at this guy, look at this guy, he's so good, he's so good. My professor wouldn't be impressed, and he would only point to the absolute best of the best out there. And he had very high expectations. So that's the metric that I now judge a lot of these fights with. So we got Bia Mesquita here and Miesha Tate. Should be a good fight. Miesha Tate 36, Bia Mesquita 31, both winning at 145. Miesha Tate fighting out of Extreme Couture, and Bia Mesquita out of Gracie Humaita. Pardon me if you heard that. I'm pretty proud of myself today. I built something. I built this this TV stand right here, and pretty pleased about that. All right, they got 10 minutes on the clock. This is a super fight. There's this match. There should be the finals of the tournament, and then the Gordon and Nicky Rod match should be interesting. Some strong collar ties out the gate here, and it ends up that Miesha Tate is in the top of close guard. Miesha Tate being very rough here, kind of pushing at the head and choking Bia Mesquita with the rape choke, as it's formerly known, with like both hands on the neck. Bia Mesquita elects to lock a body triangle. And the body triangle from the closed guard is pretty interesting. There is like a calf slicer you could do, but it's risky as there's a chance that you just get reversed into the mount position. Bia Mesquita really trying to lock down the position. Bia Mesquita here, still in the closed guard. Sorry, a little technical difficulty there for a second. And when you lock a body triangle in the closed guard, it really sort of shows that you want to keep the person here. Bia Mesquita with an overhook here. There's a great way I saw to get out of this. I learned from Marcelo Garcia, where you put your head right next to their head and you are able to loop your arm out. And I wonder if Miesha Tate knows that method. The way she has it right now, it's kind of conducive to a omoplata or a triangle setup. And the way Bia Mesquita has her hands locked, she has it in a way where she could push Miesha Tate's hand to her chest to go for that triangle. Miesha Tate seems pretty aware of this, though. And Bia Mesquita looking now to go for a pendulum sweep. But Miesha Tate's base is pretty serious. Oh, she gets it, though. Wonderful stuff there from Bia Mesquita. The pendulum sweep is one of the fundamental sweeps of jiu-jitsu, and it really teaches you to have great hip dexterity and mobility to be able to sweep people. You go for many different submission attempts off of the pendulum sweep as well, and I consider it a foundational move for my students. So far, we got Bia Mesquita in the mount position here against Miesha Tate, and Bia Mesquita looking to isolate and bring one of the arms up above Miesha Tate's head. This makes it very difficult for Miesha Tate to escape, and it takes away two of the major escapes that you have from the mount position, the elbow escape and the bridge escape. So it really sort of makes the offense one-sided, and it moves you closer from a defensive position to a offensive position. So good work here from Bia Mesquita, and Miesha Tate is in quite a rough spot. This is also draining the energy of Miesha Tate, as the mount is a very suffocating position where Bia Mesquita has her chest on Miesha Tate's face. Most people would enjoy this, but Miesha Tate does not seem to be enjoying herself. All right. Bia Mesquita still looking to isolate this arm here, going for a wrist lock now. And Miesha Tate is forced to defend this wrist lock. The wrist lock's very real. And it's a classic maneuver where you go to defend the wrist lock and you give away the other arm as an armbar. And as Bia Mesquita tries to use this dilemma to move into the arm lock, Miesha Tate does a big, big bridge to stop that from happening. You also see there's a battle of the feet right now. There's several battles of the mount, the battle of the upper body position and the battle of the lower body position. And the person who wins the attack or the escape game from the mount position is the one who wins both of these battles. The way, though, that Bia Mesquita has the mount, she is up high with her legs, so she is not in a position for Miesha Tate to escape immediately. This is a higher mount. A lot of subtlety goes on here with the mounted position, and there's many, many little adjustments that either make it advantageous position for Bia or a escape-worthy position for Miesha Tate. But Miesha Tate's starting to move in towards an escape here up, but Bia Mesquita shuts it down. Bia going for an Americana again, which is another way to set up that arm lock kind of counter. Ooh, big Americana attempt here from Bia Mesquita. That probably hurt Miesha Tate's arm. Oh my goodness. Some wild flexibility being shown off from Miesha Tate here. Yikes. Yikes. That was hard to watch. That was hard to watch. I mean, normally to finish the Americana, you need your arms in a slightly different orientation, but she was definitely wrenching on Miesha Tate's arm, and that couldn't have felt nice. Yikes. 3 minutes, 45 seconds to go. So I believe this fight goes into Oh, Miesha Tate doing a very flexible answer here, trying to put her feet in front of Bia Mesquita. There's potential for her to go to a leg lock from here, but Bia Mesquita shuts it down. It's kind of like a low percentage escape that you see people like try that are not like very traditionally skilled at jiu-jitsu. But the funny thing is, like, it shouldn't work a lot of times, but it still kind of does. There's a specific way that you have to maintain the inside position from top to shut down throwing your legs over from that mount position. But we have here Bia Mesquita still on top of Miesha Tate in the mount position. Someone who is a many time world champion, such as Bia Mesquita, has got to have a polished positional game, especially being from Gracie Humanta, being Brazilian. They are known for having that polished positional game. So if you see the standard three positions of mount, side control, and back control, um, it's going to be a common situation where she's able to keep those positions, and it's going to be hard for anybody um, around her weight class to get out of that. 2 minutes 15 seconds left here, and I believe it's Miesha Tate escapes here. She goes for a kind of a push with her arms, and then she's able to get her legs back into the party. Good stuff here from Miesha Tate. But I would definitely say that Bia Mesquita is the fresher fighter. Miesha Tate had to carry Bia Mesquita's weight for that whole time. And you sort of see that here. Bia Mesquita looking to pass the guard, go straight to north-south here. And Miesha Tate not able to put up much of a fight. Bia Mesquita isolates the arm with her right leg. This is dangerous for a Kimura, which Bia Mesquita now locks up, which she can also transfer to an armbar, which she does. And this is bad news for Miesha Tate. The way, though, that Bia Mesquita is putting her legs is indicative of going either for a terrible armbar, which I would assume that she would know that, or going for a triangle. Right now, the cross-face leg, the leg that is over the face of Miesha Tate, should be on the opposite side of her arm. Now she adjusts the leg position. Oh, and goes to the back, attacking a rear naked choke here. Miesha Tate turns belly down to defend. And man, Miesha Tate is super tough and super hard to submit. That is a classic MMA fighter for you. Bia Mesquita trying for another rear naked choke, but looks doubtful that anything will come of it. 30 seconds left until the overtime rounds here. Miesha Tate's game plan might be to just wait out the regular match time and try to win in the overtime here. MMA fighters, if they could survive the submission threat of some of the best guys and girls for 5 minutes, that's really all they need to do in the context of a fight. So a lot of times you see MMA fighters are just tough enough to be able to tough out these submissions for a couple minutes. The 10-minute regulation time ends, and I guess it will be Miesha Tate getting her. They're having a little bit of a confusion here. I guess it's EBI round, so you could either start in an armbar or back position, and Bia Mesquita elects to go armbar. Oh, and she crosses her feet, which is a good sign that she is knowledgeable in the armbar position. Miesha Tate has a famous match here with Ronda Rousey. Miesha Tate looks to aggressively turn and come on top. Looks like she's been in this armbar position before. Great job by Miesha Tate to come on top here. But maybe Bia Mesquita can knock her back down. Let's see. With the armbar in this position, usually it's a little bit better to open her feet, which Bia does for a second, and then she relocks them. But it looks like Bia knows what she's doing with the armbar, and it looks like Miesha Tate knows what she's doing to defend it. A classic match was the Ronda Rousey match, where Miesha Tate got armbarred by Ronda Rousey twice. So there's just no way that she didn't practice armbar defense. Oh, Miesha Tate pushing on the face here to try to escape this armbar. Good stuff here from Miesha Tate. What an unconventional defense that, man, I can't remember ever having seen before. Oh, but it looks like Bia Mesquita gets the armbar. Wow. Great stuff there from Bia Mesquita. But now I think not Mackenzie. Miesha Tate has an opportunity to try to submit Bia Mesquita, and if she does in a shorter time than what Bia Mesquita did to her, then she wins. So it all kind of comes down to the wire here in this last couple minutes. Alberto Silva, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for participating. Much love, and thank you so much for throwing a comment in there. I know many Albertos. Are you an Alberto that I know in person, or are you just a friend through the internet? All right, they say go here, Miesha Tate in an armbar on Bia Mesquita. Let's see if she can get it and win this match. This is not looking so good here, where Miesha Tate has separated her body from Bia Mesquita. So you're going to not have a great ability to control the position. You really want to keep the elbow on your chest when you have an armbar. And Bia Mesquita escapes, and she wins. Wow. A little bit upsetting there for Miesha Tate. She should have really known her arm bars better. I mean, she did a good job trying to defend. She used some unconventional escapes, but ultimately she got arm barred again by Bia Mesquita. And then when she was going for the armbar, she created a separation from her chest and the arm. So when you're pulling and the armbar is really far away, there creates this unwanted tension. The armbar in Japanese actually means jujigatame, which means a cross-body pin. So the actual nature of the armbar is a position that you want to control more so than you want to just take and rip out the armbar. The armbar, the real secret behind the armbar is you want to be able to use your leg configuration to control and hold the person down long enough to be able to safely extract the arm to be able to take it out and do an armbar. But when you are using tactics like you're trying to pull the arm and it's not far away from your body, and I'm sorry, and it's far away from your body, you are using tactics that aren't conducive to holding the person down and keeping the position stable. And when the arm finally breaks free, there's this chaotic moment where you can generate escape attempt, especially when your feet aren't crossed and when you don't have organized leg position. So kind of upsetting, honestly, that Miesha Tate, her armbar offense and defense could still use some work. You would think that she would have practiced that so much in her preparation for Ronda Rousey. But it looks like the person who deserved to win, won, and that is Bia Mesquita. So interesting stuff there. Man, it makes me sad. It makes me sad. All right, I believe the next fight, though, is going to be the finals. of the tournament, which is Mason Fowler versus Luke Griffith. Pardon me. I had this friggin' potato soup. It was super good, but it makes you a little gassy. I don't know how much you guys could hear through the camera. Let me know. All right, I think I'm back up here. Good. My computer is on its way out, but I appreciate you guys sticking through for me to get the fights back up.
Well, fuck, bro. Well, fuck. That's just crazy to think about. Yo, Bia is on steroids, Ryan. I don't know if you know that, man. She is. I'm like 90% certain she's taking steroids and juiced up as we speak. But about what you're saying, that's hilarious because that's exactly what's going on between me and you, and that you had with your professor. And I wonder at what point am I going to see what you see in terms of more complete form of jiu-jitsu versus not, and just being fucking disgusted when I don't see it.
That was, I don't know if you heard, but one of my students who was talking to me. I was saying how, honestly, some of the jiu-jitsu tonight has been pretty unimpressive. I mean, there's been some good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but man, people could be doing a better job out here. I just have high expectations. My instructor always had high expectations. He would only look to the very, very best of the best and would only be impressed by the best of the best. Should be an interesting match here between Mason Fowler and Luke Griffith. I think this should probably be a relatively easy victory for Mason Fowler.
Because I just see shit happening, and I just appreciate. I'm trying to appreciate everything that's happening, especially these events, like all these stages. You're trying to appreciate the jiu-jitsu in front of me, because that I figure that's more intelligent than just being just fucking staring at it, looking at a blank sheet of paper. Bro, these bitches are just slapping each other.
Bro, these bitches are just slapping each other. Oh man. I don't know if you saw that Miesha Tate match, but geez Louise. The armbar defense and offense of Miesha Tate was so upsetting and sad to see that I guess she just deserved to lose like that. I mean, how do you have two matches with Ronda Rousey where you get finished both times in the most dramatic fashion possible with arm bars and have just that lackluster armbar offense and defense? I mean, that is atrocious. And I love Miesha Tate. I'd I'd do terrible things to to get the opportunity to meet Miesha Tate. So, anyway, that was a bit of a conversation I had with my student. I'm a huge Miesha Tate fan. One of my favorite fights ever, like easily top three favorite fights, if not like my favorite fight of all time, was Miesha Tate versus Holly Holm, where Holly Holm was beating the crap out of Miesha Tate the whole fight, and Miesha came back in the last minute of the fifth round and rear naked chokes Miesha. Miesha Tate rear naked chokes Holly Holm in the last minute of the fight and becomes champion, and just like comes back from a dog eat dog kind of career. I mean, that fight was unbelievable. If you guys haven't seen that, I can't recommend that fight enough. I'm a huge Miesha Tate fan. Um, but my goodness, you need to constantly learn and adapt, and she needs to adapt better on those arm bars. I'd love to connect with Miesha Tate and try to help her in that regard. I'm a huge fan, and I only say it because I believe it to be true. Shane Ehrman says, "Is there a stream to watch?" Just on UFC Fight Pass, and then there's always going the illegal route. Or if you have a friend who has UFC Fight Pass, who doesn't care about jujitsu, that might be another option for you. So we got an 8-minute match here as the finals of the tournament format here. And so far we see Luke Griffith playing bottom knee shield half guard against Mason Fowler. Mason Fowler with an easy pass straight through to north-south here. And I love Mason Fowler's style. We had the opportunity to have a seminar with him, and boy, is he good at jiu-jitsu. And as I said, this should probably be a pretty dominant win for Mason Fowler. Potential happenstance in this fight, though, is Luke Griffith survives till the end of this match, and then Luke Griffith's back control and back offense could be a problem for Mason Fowler. But I don't see that happening. Mason Fowler looking to incrementally work to isolate the arm of Luke Griffith. Luke Griffith sees what's going on and tries to look to defend. Luke Griffith, definitely an athlete, and he has that going for him. Mason Fowler still in the north-south position here. And you see Mason Fowler really understanding the dynamic of higher level positioning here. He's moving from north-south to side control in a way where he's respecting the very nature, the very integrity of the position, where you see like Mason Fowler's positioning right now, he's in north-south, but he has something called diagonal control, where he controls one side hip and the opposite side shoulder of Luke Griffith, and that's preventing him from being able to escape. And he is moving between diagonal and perpendicular, where their bodies make a T control, where it's really, really hard to escape or get out when you are in this perpendicular control as well. I have a whole series on this. This is one of my instructions called Unpinnable. The link is down in the description about how to escape from this position. But the way that Mason Fowler is controlling it, especially with the diagonal wedging, where one controls like reverse crossface and the other controls a grip by the hip, really limits the escape options here of Luke Griffith. I don't know if he has developed enough his side control and north-south escape to have answers to the specific wedges and the specific dynamic controls that Mason Fowler is operating with. But Luke Griffith does a big bridge. He ends up in a guillotine, and Mason Fowler maintains this side control north-south type position. We got 3 minutes, 52 seconds left. They were by the edge of the mat, and now they reset them to the middle. Mason Fowler, again, you see him in this diagonal control where he controls from one shoulder to the opposite side hip, making it very, very difficult for Luke Griffith to escape. And again, the wedging, the position of Mason Fowler's arms are really the things that are the wedges, the blockades that are holding Mason Fowler in place, or that are holding Luke Griffith in place. And he needs to be able to defeat the exact way in which he is being held down. But what I will give him, what he is doing is he is grabbing his arms together and making it difficult for Mason Fowler to be able to isolate his limbs and move into a submission. I believe Luke Griffith, with Danaher coaching him, is smart enough to have an understanding to keep his basic defensive responsibility, to not have his limbs isolated and therefore be submitted, and to try to move this into the overtime rounds where Luke Griffith has the best chance of winning. But regardless, it should be an interesting match. With the current strategy that Luke Griffith is using, he shouldn't be able to really get out. He's just looking to sort of defend himself in this moment. So we will see who has the patience. But it is possible Luke Griffith does a crazy bridge and explosion, and he does get out. But, you know, in the finals of a tournament, you are definitely not as fresh as a daisy. And those big explosive movements cost you in your gas and cardio towards the end of the match. Mason Fowler looking to switch to a guillotine or a north-south choke here, and looking to change up the defensive frames of Luke Griffith. And Mason Fowler moving into the mount position now. Luke Griffith looking to do a kipping escape, and he gets it. And you're going to see a classic battle here with Luke Griffith using the body lock passing and Mason Fowler using the rubber guard. Mason Fowler is trying to use an omoplata setup here, but Luke Griffith keeping his hands tight and clasped together. Let's see what happens here. Luke Griffith did a phenomenal triangle from rubber guard in one of his last fights. Luke Griffith in a really good position here. I forget what the exact rubber guard name for this is. This is called crackhead control. Mason Fowler utilizing crackhead control, and Luke Griffith in a pretty awkward spot with his arms. Let's see if Mason Fowler can switch off to an omoplata or an arm lock here in the last 15 seconds. But as the clock ticks down, the chances of this are starting to become less and less. Mason Fowler looking to get a frame on the inside and switch to a triangle, but Luke Griffith is very aware of it. And it's looking like time is going to run out and they're going to move to the overtime rounds. So I think this is where Luke Griffith has the best chance of winning. He's definitely well-versed and practiced in the straitjacket back attack system. And he has a great mandible strangle where he goes over your chin and bypasses the arms. Let's see how well. It looks like there was a fake start there. Let's see how well Mason Fowler can deal with this. Mason Fowler looks to throw his back to the floor, and he creates this disparity in the center line, which is going to be good for him escaping. And it looks like he's going to get out here, ends up in the bottom of the mount, but that is enough to escape from this overtime back attack situation. If you're just joining me, we're in the overtime round, and Mason Fowler takes Luke Griffith's back. I can't talk today, and let's see if he can hold him for longer or get him in some type of stranglehold here. Mason Fowler with a rear naked choke on and has elected to do something called a high ball ride, where he takes one hook out and he controls the hips of Luke Griffith which normally I don't recommend, but it's working here for Mason Fowler. And the reason why I don't recommend it is the one that just happened, where if you push the knee, you sort of lose the hip contact of that high ball ride, and you're just really kind of using the squeeze of your legs to hold on, and it's not as secure of a position as using both of your hooks. So Luke Griffith escapes. Should be close in riding time for both of them, but probably Mason Fowler is winning by a very slight margin. But we're in the second round here of overtime, and there's a little bit of a false start idea happening again, where both guys want to make sure that they have good positioning. Mason Fowler throws his back to the floor, creates the center line disparity again. And Luke Griffith looking to try to hold on as tight as he can. But this is a good strategy from Mason Fowler here. He's starting to separate the arms, and it looks like he will sort of escape here. Yep. I wonder if Mason Fowler hurt his ribs on that one. Looked like he, when he was turning out, there was a really super tight body triangle, and he was trying to rotate out of it. And a lot of times that's where rib injuries happen. And he sort of winced there for a second. I wonder if his ribs are okay. Mason Fowler's on Luke Griffith's back now. And he elects to go for this high ball ride again, which is not traditionally the best position to defend, which Luke Griffith sort of tries to take advantage of here. And it looks like he does, and he's out. I mean, I don't understand, in not adapting your back control to account for this high ball ride not working out well for you. I mean, I understand having short legs is tough, but you're going to lose a match like that. A little bit of a disparity again in the exact starting position. But it looks like Mason Fowler's strategy of aggressively throwing his back to the floor has been working for him. And he looks to now control Luke Griffith in the final round of overtime here. And it's really coming down to the wire, where if Mason Fowler can hold on to the position of Luke Griffith, he will win on having the shortest escape time in overtime here. And again, he elects for a high ball ride. And will it be enough? I don't know. Luke Griffith escapes because Mason Fowler is trying to do the high ball ride, which is not a good strategy again for the overtime rounds. And they just leave it to absolute chance. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing. I think Mason Fowler will win, though, as I've predicted. And I'll probably be proved right as usual. Let's see. They're standing there. Someone's probably announcing something. And Mason Fowler is a real monster. We had the pleasure of having him in Orlando for a seminar recently, and man, the guy's got scary good jiu-jitsu. The announcer is announcing.
And Mason Fowler.
And Mason Fowler wins as I predicted. He wins by the fastest escape time, a 21-second difference. And he is your UFC Fight Pass competition champion. But man, it's a shame. Mason Fowler has such amazing jiu-jitsu, but he used such a poor, lackluster strategy there to control the back. So he wins, but yikes.
Sounds like a YouTube video subject, what Miesha Tate should have done. Bro, Mason is just manhandling this motherfucker. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm live on YouTube right now, and I'm losing my mind. I'm talking to you live on YouTube right now. I'm losing my mind about Miesha Tate's armbar offense and defense, and she had 2 fights with Ronda Rousey. Shouldn't she know her way around an armbar better? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. And then what the hell's with Mason Fowler's high ball ride where he tries to control the back with one hook? I'm really not a fan of doing that. And Luke Griffith obviously had the answer to try to, thwart that and escape. You sort of just push the leg off when you're doing the escape for the high ball ride, and you lose contact with the hips. I mean, Mason Fowler really does have some amazing jiu-jitsu, but man, to sort of just leave it to chance like that in the last seconds of the EBI overtime, it's just silly. It's just silliness. And I mean, of course, respect to these guys for going out there and doing this competition and putting their lives and their bodies on the line and having the balls to do it. But I mean, man, disappointing on many levels. So I guess there you have it. What do you guys think? I mean, we got 11 people watching. We got hundreds of people that have popped on and off the stream right now. Let me know what you guys think as far as the matches so far. We got Gordon Ryan versus Nicky Rod coming up next. And I am very excited for that one. Let's see some high-level jiu-jitsu here. This will be a rematch where Gordon Ryan fought Nicky Rod a couple of weeks ago in the finals of the ADCC. And Nicky Rod got leg locked in about 2.5 minutes there. And let's see if that will happen again. It seems to me that there is a weakness that Gordon is exploiting in Nicky Rod's leg lock defense. And there is certain ways that Gordon was using to control Nicky Rod's leg in the last ADCC, which allowed him to be able to cut down on the athleticism and successfully leg lock Nicky Rod. One of those controls is called, it's a tombstone control, where you control the top of the toes. And there's a correct way to explode out and escape. But when Gordon controlled the top of the toes, if Nicky Rod were to explode out and escape, he would actually really injure his own knee. So the type of control Gordon had was exactly the antithesis of what Nicky Rod's strength was. And also he used sort of like a rear naked choke grip, where you wrap your arms around the very bottom of the ankle, and your arm slides like a knot to the end of the foot when you lock your arms in that way. So against all of Nicky Rod's other training partners, they were just not able to use that same level of precision and be close in size to Nicky Rod. But I mean, mainly it had to do with the precision. To be able to hold him in place long enough to leg lock him. Nicky Rod has a very specific kind of advantage to his opponents, where nobody can hold him down and control him. Therefore, he's always trying to push the action, always on the offense, and is a very, very difficult competitor to face and to deal with. And Nicky Rod, is dangerous in this rule set. He is the EBI absolute champion of the last EBI. So he has definitely been practicing in these rules. Nicky Rod is really good at back finishing and back escaping. So it should be interesting to see if this makes it to the overtime rounds, which I sort of doubt. If Gordon will be able to finish him, or what that would look like exactly. And I know Nicky Rod is probably prepared for another leg lock attempt. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I also think Gordon's stomach problems aren't, or Gordon's stomach problems are back and are bothering him a lot. So it should be interesting to see if that plays a factor. He said he had a pretty bad training camp for this fight, and that his stomach was bothering him again. So let's see if that bothers him in this match. But the thing is, Gordon is just such a complete fighter that he is just so difficult to beat. He's just a monster when he gets on top and starts to enact his guard passing. And he's just dangerous from his back. So Nicky looking confident at the start here, but sort of what it looked like to me is he's realizing the gravity of what he's about to do, which is going to have a main event match against Gordon Ryan in the UFC Fight Pass. So he looks a little bit nervous. I mean, he looked a little bit mentally defeated when he walked in to the last match in the ADCC. Gordon Ryan looking extremely confident, as he always does, with Danaher behind him. And should be a fascinating match. Let me know what you guys think in the description. I like that the referee, Mike Davila, I think that's his name, checks if the fighters have greased, which is a bit of a problem in grappling, where once you start sweating, the grease makes it really hard for you to hold on to that person. I'm also surprised to see Nicky Rod with a shirt on. They must have, tried to make that happen. There is actually a big difference if you wear rash guard versus no rash guard. They're showing the age and weight and stuff, but it's completely wrong. Gordon's not 32. Gordon and I are the exact same age. We're both 27. Nicky Rod is 26. And who knows if anything else was right, because the age was wrong. All right. But as I was saying, if you are going up against Gordon Ryan, you probably don't want that friction. The friction means that more jiu-jitsu related things will happen. And you can't just like slip out of things as easy, which Nicky Rod would probably want to be bare chested to have the sweat sort of work in his favor and him to be able to slip and slide out of things in a much easier way. That's why even though you see Gordon is super jacked, he always wears a rash guard to add that extra friction to his fight. Something to definitely pay attention to when you're seeing jiu-jitsu matches in the future. If they choose to wear a rash guard or not, a lot of times is telling you something about their beliefs between them and their opponent. But I guess for this UFC Fight Pass thing, they sort of made everyone wear a rash guard. Otherwise, Nicky Rod would not have a shirt on, as Nicky Rod always seems to do. Looks like it's going to be a 20-minute match here. And let's see how this one plays out. Things are about to begin any second now. Gordon Ryan's got a nice smile on his face. They both shake hands. You ready? You ready? And fight. All right. Both in the standing position here. Gordon pulls guard. Gordon looks to get a knee shield half guard here. Very similar to their last match. Nicky Rod presents a threat because he's very, very difficult to wrestle and to get top position with. And then he has decent body lock guard passing, or maybe a little bit better than decent, but against Gordon Ryan, it's very, very difficult to get anything to work. So Gordon's in this knee shield half guard. They're doing some hand fighting here, and Gordon's going to look to have diagonal control where he uses his knee shield to control the bottom hip and his frame with his arm to do a cross shoulder post to control the opposite shoulder on the other side. Having this diagonal control relationship is something you see in many, many positions of jiu-jitsu, and in the knee shield is no different that you see Gordon using here. Nicky Rod trying to interlock his hands, and it's very difficult as Gordon is very, very good at being able to use Nicky Rod's underhook and his ability to lock his hands as a liability. Also, if you see Gordon Ryan is completely on his side, there's one basically golden rule in a half guard knee shield is that you don't want to let your opponent control your hip and your shoulder. So if he could flatten your hip and your shoulder to the mat, then he's in an advantageous position and you are defensive. And if you see Gordon Ryan's half guard that he is electing to play here, he wants to first and foremost deny that to his opponent, especially with Nicky Rod's specialty in body lock guard passing, where you flatten the hips in body lock guard passing, and to deny the traditional crossface underhook, of course, to flatten the shoulders as well. So you see Gordon not messing around and being able to keep a solid side-on body posture to not allow that hip and shoulder control to be controlled. Gordon Ryan probably looking to try to get underneath the legs here. That would probably be where he wants to be. He keeps on using the knee lever. I consider the knee lever as the jab of the half guard, where it's a great system of off balancing and create some kind of overcompensations for your opponent. And he's been using that a couple of times with no success yet. Also, sometimes it makes your opponent post out and you can get a good underhook to start working your offense. And a lot of times it makes your opponent's head drift away from you, which allows you to do arm drags and to come up in that way. So the knee lever in the half guard, just like the jab in striking, helps you sort of set up all of the rest of the techniques in the half guard. And that's what you see Gordon sort of utilizing here, which you see Nicky Rod sort of trying to adjust to. And also interesting enough here is Gordon Ryan seems to be transitioning to like a reverse De La Riva guard game, where if he could invert and get underneath Nicky Rod, that would be ideal for some leg locks. So you see Nicky Rod being aware of this and using a bottom arm underhook to stop this rotation of Gordon trying to get underneath him and spin into those leg locks. So far you see Gordon using the knee lever, sort of like a one-leg knee lever, which is interesting, and that reverse De La Riva guard. Switch to butterfly guard for a second there, looking for arm drags now. As Nicky Rod's head position has adjusted, now he moves into close guard, into a top lock from the close guard, where this is a rough position for Nicky Rod to be in. And you can transition to the back. You can transition to certain sweeps and arm locks from this position as well. But let's see what Gordon Ryan elects to do. As with a guy like Nicky Rod, it might be difficult to submit him on the arms, but Gordon looking to make his way up to the back position. And Nicky Rod pulls out of this engagement and ends up back in the open guard of Gordon Ryan. As I said, he's difficult to submit on the arms and very aware of what the back control of Gordon brings. So 15 minutes, 10 seconds left here in this match. And Gordon looking like he could take a nap in this position. I mean, super great awareness from Gordon. Those knee levers and the type of half guard that he is playing is forcing Nicky Rod to sort of play a different style of being aware of those knee levers and making his head move away from Gordon, which allows the arm drag setups to get into the offense that we've already seen. So this mismatch of the head position might be something that costs Nicky Rod. Also, with Gordon Ryan keeping disciplined body position, it's going to be more difficult for Nicky Rod to get any sort of pass going. And there becomes this certain kind of feeling when you can't pass your opponent's guard, that you just got to sort of, stall in this top position. You don't believe anymore that you have a chance of passing his guard. And to me, that's sort of what it looks like, beyond Nicky Rod of maybe hitting some explosive movement where he tries to jump around it in north-south, which I believe Gordon would be very aware of as well. So you sort of see in this match and in a lot of matches, Nicky Rod gets his hands locked around Gordon, which is good news for Nicky Rod, but Gordon transitions his leg positioning to nullify the hand position that Nicky Rod has and to try to move into this kind of close guard situation. But Gordon is playing smart with his legs and making it so that Nicky Rod can't get going what he wants to get going here. Kind of staying in between these guard passes and being very smart about it. But as I was saying, that you could see Nicky Rod start to make adjustments and have respect for what Gordon is doing, which is good news for Gordon and bad news for Nicky Rod. It's like when the guys in the UFC are biting down on a lot of feints. You're like really afraid of what your opponent's going to do to you. And so they fake to your head, you block your head, and then you leave your body open. Similar reactions are happening as Gordon goes to attack from his back here. And in Nicky Rod's attempts to interlace his hands and to get some passing going, you saw Gordon switch from trying to have an offensive cycle and generate offense into defensive measures immediately. And it's awesome to see the awareness of whether you're in an offensive or defensive cycle and to be able to address the threat as it comes in. So obviously Gordon's fight IQ is off the charts here. And that's what we're seeing in his match against Nicky Rod. So far, he's needed to be defensive all of about 5 seconds in this match. But it's important to know when that 5 second period that you need to be defensive is. And the rest he's just sort of keeping disciplined body position and going in attack mode. 11 minutes, 35 seconds here. And Nicky Rod kind of staying back with his posture, with his hips, and is trying to control the distance here in a way that it makes it tough for Gordon to sort of get anything going. And he steps on Gordon's foot here, but he's sort of playing a distance game where he wants Gordon to reach out and try to get something going, playing off of Gordon's frustration. But Gordon is a seasoned veteran, and he's only going to engage when he has all of the parameters of his defensive responsibility checked off. And Gordon looks to fake to wrestle up here. Nicky Rod looks to like control the head, maybe like guillotine, but nothing comes of it. Gordon on a arm drag again. Gordon looking to try to come up here. And it's interesting too, in this matchup where Nicky Rod is on his knees, and so many times you see guys like change the way that you pass from being on your knees to standing. And it's interesting with the rise of body lock passing that we've seen in this event, that this dynamic of playing like a seated guard against an opponent on their knees, where like a rubber guard game or a knee shield game comes back into effect again. And it's a great thing to see, in like what's old is new again. Because a lot of what the modern jiu-jitsu game is, which is what the old school game was, is about passing and getting to a dominant position. And it's cool to see that sort of resurface. But as I said, you're sort of seeing this like cagey game from Nicky Rod, where he's looking to take this into deep waters, and it looks like it's going to be really difficult for him to pass. Gordon Ryan gets to close guard here. Like he doesn't believe that he could pass, and that he might try to wait this out until a possible overtime situation. But let's see what Gordon could get going from the close guard here. Getting a great top lock, or the arm to the side, commonly referred to as a side scissor position, is a great attacking method where you've compromised both of the arms across the center line, and you could attack in many multi-dimensional ways by doing so. Gordon goes into his butterfly guard, but gets stuck in a situation here where one leg's in and one leg's out. This is a good situation for Nicky Rod, and Gordon puts in his frames accordingly. Gordon with 2 frames on Nicky Rod's neck here, with a double rape choke on the head, and thwarts Nicky Rod off. Again, having great respect for what Nicky Rod is strong at, and it's awesome to see the adaptability and understanding of when to be defensive and when to be offensive, which is very important when you're doing jiu-jitsu. 7 minutes, 46 seconds left. Throw some comments down in the description. Am I doing good with the commentary? Up. Gordon looking to try to get in on a leg entry here. The deepest leg entry so far. Gordon looking to invert on the leg, doing that same tombstone grip that I was talking about earlier. In the 50-50 guard now. And Gordon having no fear about his own legs, but he's looking like okay, the position changed, but it looked like Gordon really didn't care much about what was going on with his legs, and they're both out of the 50-50 now. Nicky Rod goes for a toe hold in the 50-50, which is a pretty good game plan against Gordon Ryan, I'd say. But again, Gordon almost impossible to leg lock. And I mean, just as far as like things that you could possibly do to Gordon, I mean, shit, I would probably try to toe hold him in the 50-50 myself. Not many good options though. 6 minutes 26 seconds left, and I think the rules are the EBI overtime rounds at the end. So I'd be very curious to see how this plays out. Nicky Rod and Gordon are some of the best guys in the world at those overtime rounds. So it should be interesting to see how that sort of plays out. Gordon in a butterfly half guard here. Nicky Rod on top with defensive frames on the upper body. Gordon winning the upper body Gordon winning the lower body inside positioning game with his legs. Nicky Rod winning the upper body inside positioning. There's always a factor. It's just like chess. That there's always a dynamic of the upper body inside positioning and the lower body inside positioning. And that's also a dynamic that you see happening here. Just like how in chess, there's a big idea of the center line, how you want to control the center, which has been something in this match. And then there's a idea of space and distance that you want to have. And then there's, if you want to control the white squares and the black squares, or the white squares and the dark squares. And it's very similar to the upper body inside position versus the lower body inside position game. Many different ways to slice things up, and high percentage ways to attack, just like in chess. 4 minutes, 33 seconds here. Gordon in his butterfly guard. Nicky Rod playing a distance game here. Sort of keeping a far enough distance so that Gordon really can't do much here. 4 minutes left, and sort of looking to survive and make it to the overtime rounds. Gordon looking like he could pretty much be asleep. Nicky Rod definitely having the higher work rate. But just to say that you didn't get submitted by Gordon in 20 minutes is an impressive feat in itself. Three minutes, 28 seconds here. Both guys are practically asleep. And the action has halted to a near standstill. I wonder if Victor Davila, I think I called him Mike Davila or something, but I just remembered his name is Victor Davila, will do anything to press the action and force the guys to engage. Two minutes, 40 seconds here. What an awareness, too. I mean, Nicky Rod has like unbelievable arm length where he can grab his hands together when like nobody else on earth can. And Gordon is just aware enough of the exact distance that Nicky Rod needs to be able to grab his hands together. I feel like a lot of people, when they fight Nicky Rod, are like need to go through an adjustment period due to like his athleticism and his limb length, and like where he could actually clasp his hands together. And once Nicky Rod sort of gets going on his body lock passing, people are just sort of moving downstream in a way where things are just going bad for them. And Gordon just is different and on a higher level. Gordon going for that one-legged knee lever again. 1 minute 40 seconds here. Gordon switching side to side on his knee shield half guard, alternating between a high knee shield and a lower knee shield. Gordon, like literally asleep under Nicky Rod, daring him to do something. "50 seconds left here. And, it's a tough situation because the most efficient route is what Gordon's doing of being on his back and playing on his back here. And Nicky Rod sort of just staying away and fighting at a distance that Gordon sort of can't reach him at. 19 seconds left here. Can almost guarantee that this is going to go to overtime, which the overtime should be interesting. And time. Nicky Rod, a sweaty, slippery mess, and it looks like Gordon isn't even sweating. Hey, Dad, I'm on live on YouTube. Can I call you back?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. All right, so we see Gordon on Nicky Rod's back. Pretty solid with a body triangle. Isn't going to make those same sort of Mason Fowler errors. And Nicky Rod explodes out into a bottom position here. Let's see Gordon's back defense. Nicky Rod trying to get every single possible advantage he can. And this might be a tough situation where Nicky Rod's trying to hold on here, trying to win this on escape time. And Gordon has definitely been in the back control longer than Nicky Rod has. So I think Nicky Rod won that round. And it's pretty amazing to have someone escape from Gordon Ryan's back control where his back finishing percentage is so unbelievably high. Let's see if Gordon adjusts here and holds on for a longer period of time. Looks like Gordon has made some adjustments and is more disciplined with his head trap and with his body triangle and the shoulder control of Nicky Rod. Good stuff here from Gordon. And really trying to control the shoulders of Nicky Rod. Nicky Rod trying to be athletic and scramble out of here. And time has sufficiently elapsed here where Nicky Rod has certainly held on longer than most. And Gordon still maintains back control so far for 1 minute and 11 seconds. Gordon being smarter with his positional play and might Might look to win this on escape time. Up and looking to start to go for a rear naked strangle here. Has adjusted to Nicky Rod's explode out of the back type maneuver. And I guess 2 minutes is the maximum time that you could have on the back. And Gordon did the whole 2 minutes. Gordon seems a little bit frustrated that he has to sort of win the match this way, but it sort of is what it is. Gordon looking to step over the bottom hook here, ruin the head trap, and he should be out of the back control shortly here. But Nicky Rod going for a nice strategy here to try to get a sort of belly down rear naked. Try to use the length of his arms to sort of get Gordon on the way out. But it seems that Gordon is proving that he is the best in the world, and he is the best at the EBI overtime rounds. Gordon sufficiently controls him once again, and is probably going to look to control him here for the remainder of the 2 minutes, and then maybe go for a submission at the end. That's at least what I would do. And Gordon Ryan's no fool. Nicky Rod using sort of an interesting strategy where he's almost wrist locking Gordon, or at least breaking the grip in a way that's very mean to Gordon's wrist. Gordon electing to go double underhooks here on the back, which is an interesting thing that you don't see Gordon generally do. But it's a good way to control the opponent, especially on a guy like Nicky Rod, who was using like a turning escape where he's using his shoulder line to get out. And while the seatbelt is a great control and it's great for submission, looks like Nicky Rod escapes here at 1 minute and 15 seconds. And what does Nicky Rod go for on the last round of EBI overtime? He goes for back control once again. And Gordon goes to get his thumb post in and do his escape. Gordon turns belly down. Man, two extreme athletes. I think even if Nicky Rod holds him here for the whole time, Gordon still wins. Nicky Rod needs a submission here, and Gordon very aware, really sort of defending well. I got Gordon's back defense DVD, and you see him using some of the stuff from his back defense DVD here. Nicky Rod just so ferocious with his hands digging in on the rear naked. I wonder how Gordon's stomach is too with the body triangle of Nicky Rod. It's so weird to even see someone on his back, which we haven't seen in like years. Nicky Rod gets his hands clasped together. With a body triangle, but seemingly has yet to squeeze. Cutting it pretty close here, though. I think Gordon doesn't even need to get out. I think with his combined escape time, that even if he just survives to the 2-minute mark, he wins. Up, Nicky Rod has a rear naked choke locked, and it looks like. Will it be enough to tap Gordon here? The camera angle is terrible. He taps? No. The 2-minute time expired. So I guess he was tapping about the 2-minute time expiring. Jesus.
My goodness. Some drama there. Wow. Okay, so we're gonna, add up everything, make sure it's good, but can we just do it again right now?
Wow.
I would watch again.
Gosh.
Oh my goodness.
What the
Another
hell
overtime
happened
round.
at the end there?
Quadruple overtime. Got a main event of the Fight Pass Invitational 4.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
All right.
The camera angle was awful. They were showing the guys' backs when Nicky Rod had a full rear naked, and it was impossible to see. Ay, ay, ay.
Fastest escape time, 45 seconds. The King, Gordon.
Gordon wins on fastest escape time, but geez.
One of the strangest victories you'll ever see, but it still happens, and the King reigns supreme. Gordon Ryan able to get by Nicky Rodriguez once again. He'll speak with Michael Chiesa.
I'm here with the King, Gordon Ryan. Gordon.
A little drama there at the end of the match. Was this the type of match that you thought Nicky was going to bring in the rematch this next time around?
Yeah, I knew. He knows how dangerous I am, and he's going to be cagey. It was hard to get a hold of him, and then my teeth were getting crushed. And I saw the timer, and I was like, oh, the timer's run out. And I tried to signal, I tapped. It was tight, but the time definitely ran out.
And as you've started to kind of lap the competition like you did tonight, this is the rematch you have with Nicky. Is there still a desire to get that rematch with with Vinny Magalesh?
Yeah, he's one of the long guys to beat me at black belt, so I'm definitely looking to get it back whenever he's healthy and not trying to cut 40 pounds of weight in a day.
And the last thing I want to ask is, you've accomplished everything you can as a jiu-jitsu competitor. Where does the motivation come from? What drives you to continue to compete and to continue to progress throughout this sport?
Just to push the sport forward, to be a better me than I was 6 months ago, and to try to elevate the sport to like a real mainstream athlete sport.
Yeah, well, you're one of the greatest athletes across any sport, across any platform. It's a pleasure to watch you compete. Give it up for your winner, the King, Gordon Ryan.
The King reigns supreme once again. Gordon Ryan able to win over Nicky Rodriguez once again, this time by fastest escape time. Although it was very dramatic, and you did see Gordon Ryan tap, which is what you don't see very often, but it's because he said, hey, the clock could run out. Claudia Gadelia, it was, a tap, but it was a tap because Gordon Ryan knew that this fight should have been over.
Yeah, the choke was tight. Like the crank on the neck, everything was very tight. But Gordon was looking at that clock and waiting for the time to expire to tap and get out of that position, because it was very, very uncomfortable. This makes me very curious about what's going to happen in the future with this too, because that was an amazing match. Nick Rod showed amazing improvement, and the time was expired, right. Guys?
It was. Could you imagine if this was a no time limit match, if they had to just continue on until there was a submission? There's always a possibility for that to happen, but just to see how Nicky Rod closed the gap from the first match at ADCC, to see how he performed tonight.
Interesting.
There is so much that he
Okay.
needs to keep his head
Well,
held
I
high
guess
on,
you guys
because
heard it there.
starting to close in on
Gordon was signaling the time. I have seen that before, where you're like, hey, the time has ended. You tap because you want the guy to let go. The match is over. The universal symbol when you tap is the person has to let go. And I guess that's what happened there. But man, shame on the UFC Fight Pass for having terrible camera angle where you couldn't see what was going on really. All you saw was just Gordon tapping. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Thank you guys all for coming. RC says, thank you very much for the commentary and the technical notes over the match. Thank you so much, RC, for being a part of the stream. If you guys could please subscribe to my channel, that would mean the world to me. I'm trying to grow the amount of subscriptions. I'm trying to grow the channel and teach people the greatest product of all time, which I believe is jiu-jitsu. And it's something that I love more than anything, and it's so near and dear to my heart. And I hope to share that all with you. So if you could subscribe, that would mean the world to me. If you want to support monetarily, subscribing is free. I have a PayPal. I have an Amazon where you do all your regular Amazon shopping. And I have many video instructionals for you guys to watch and learn from as well, all in the description. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you.